Hey guys, this is Kaiju Zilla, and today I will be explaining my version of Zilla for my version of Godzilla Monster Planet. Now, my version of Zilla is not some mere mutant iguana. Its anatomy is far too different. Instead, it appears to be a hybrid of multiple animals, including traits seen in humans, birds, crocodiles, asexually reproducing whiptail lizards, and other animals. It's not an ancient creature like in IDW Rulers of Earth, as the Earth would already have large populations running around before Godzilla even shows up. There would also be ample evidence of the species in the fossil record, but there isn't. Zilla is a new creature. After years of kaiju attacks, several countries agreed to help Japan combat the threat, putting money and significant scientific effort into building Mechagodzilla 2, the Super X 1, 2, and 3, Mogera, and other weapons. However, many of these countries also plot in secret, creating weapons without sharing information gathered. They look to use kaiju as weapons themselves and conduct highly unethical experiments behind the scenes. One of these countries is France. French geneticists work at a secret lab in French Polynesia, conducting genetic experiments. They worked with cloning using human and kaiju DNA, and while working there, several geneticists created atrocities that should never have seen the light of day. The creator of the DNA blob from the Godzilla the Series episode Trust No One worked there, and was mostly responsible for the creation of Zilla. Zilla was, of course, created using the DNA of several organisms. However, Zilla escaped confinement there, and the French government shut down the facility shortly after. There was a massive cover-up, and France bombed the area in an attempt to kill any escaped creatures and destroy any signs of the lab. Zilla survived, and lived hidden in the Pacific for some time. Any attacks by Zilla were generally attributed to other kaiju, like Godzilla for instance, and Zilla escaped detection. Zilla interacted with kaiju behind the scenes, but generally preferred to avoid conflict. It realized that it couldn't fight kaiju like Godzilla. Zilla recognized that the Pacific was crowded, filled with larger, more powerful kaiju, and Zilla felt a change coming. It was going to reproduce. Since the Pacific was crowded with dangerous territorial kaiju like Godzilla, Anguirus, Rodan, and others, Zilla left the Pacific. It's basically Godzilla's fault that Zilla migrates to an area free of these kaiju. Zilla takes a similar route to the 1998 Godzilla, traveling along the eastern American seaboard. Alright, so on the one hand, Americans would likely make this first attack in New York a big deal, since people don't really have to worry about the kaiju plaguing the Pacific. On the other hand, Zilla doesn't do much damage, and might be mostly ignored since most major scientists are working on the kaiju problem in the Pacific. And other countries have growing amounts of Hedorah and Biollante, so yeah, while the East Coast is generally not attacked by kaiju, um, yeah, Zilla could be a big deal or not so big a deal. Yes, since most top scientists are busy working on ways to stop Godzilla, the US government scrambles to find someone not working on the kaiju project in the Pacific. Eventually, the US turns to someone completely unqualified and mostly inexperienced when dealing with kaiju. Nyctitopoulos. Yeah, events play out similar to the '98 Godzilla film. Zilla emerges from the ocean, destroys a fish market, and walks through the city. Zilla is able to disappear thanks to its burrowing ability. I don't know how people reviewing the '98 movie seem to miss that every time. People think it's Godzilla at first, but experts quickly dispel that idea after video footage is released. French officials recognize the creature and secretly send in a covert team to spy on the Americans. Based on surviving classified lab notes, they have reason to suspect the creature may replicate itself soon. The city is evacuated, American forces lure the creature out of hiding with fish, and they've ordered a couple maser tanks in to help deal with the creature. When they first start shooting, Zilla dodges the missiles and is running to escape, he destroys the tanks. You see, as Zilla grew up in the Pacific surrounded by more powerful kaiju, its first instinct is to run. Now, my version of Zilla is more durable than the '98 Godzilla, but missiles still hurt, and the maser tanks draw blood. The creature lures its attackers into traps and ambushes the helicopters from within a building before disappearing back into the tunnels. A drop of blood is found by Nyctitopoulos, and after testing the blood using a human pregnancy test, Nick discovers that this creature is pregnant. But he discovers this information too late, as the eggs have already hatched. The babies feed on the French soldiers that tried to destroy the nest. The Zillas infest the city, feeding on stray pets, looters, and military troops. The military attempts to bring in more tanks, jets, and helicopters to try to take back the city, but it's hopeless. The damage to the bedrock is catastrophic, creating enormous sinkholes that cause buildings to collapse. Zilla was severely underestimated, and now the threat grows too large. By the time the government realizes the only way to clear out this infestation is with nukes, which many Americans are against, it's too late anyway, as Zilla and its brood move on. They spread throughout the Atlantic, attacking other cities on the east coast of the US, Europe, Africa, and South America. In only 4 years, the Zilla population grows from around 200 to 1 billion. You see, the population grows unchecked in the Atlantic because there are few kaiju to challenge the hordes of Zillas. As food grows scarce, they move further inland in search of sustenance. The Zillas are difficult to kill because of how fast they move, and the damage they inflict on cities and environments is catastrophic. Because, you see, when they burrow, they cause erosion, and their burrowing and erosion puts a lot of sediment into the water, polluting the waters. And their burrowing, of course, causes sinkholes. And large populations need to eat large amounts of food. They spread throughout the Atlantic, but soon move on into the Pacific. This is where they encounter Godzilla and other kaiju. And because they have such large numbers, they are a force to be reckoned with. Of course, Godzilla, Biollante, Hedorah, and Baragons are very important in keeping the numbers down. You see, Baragon in particular is a threat to the Zillas in that it will feast on the eggs and nests. He's able to burrow down and get to the eggs, and then use his heat ray to keep the adults at bay. And that's basically it for my version of Zilla, at least for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe. Yeah, hopefully I'll post more videos soon.